You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps, and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode? Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unstoppable Actors. I am so excited to be talking with you today about the TV acting mistake that ruins Take Two. Some of you are going to be so familiar with this one word, and for some of you, it's going to be a brand new concept. At the end of this episode, I would really love for you to be feeling more confident in yourself when it comes to approaching TV and all screen work, to be honest, and feeling clued up and knowledgeable about some of the expectations of you as an actor. But before we dive in, I just want to say a big, heartfelt thank you to everybody who's been downloading the Magnetic Actor activation audio and taking the time to message me about it. I absolutely love getting your DMs over on the gram. And our Instagram handle is at Standby Method Acting Studio if you don't already follow us. It's so exciting because a couple of you have sent me pictures of where you're listening to it. But what you're all doing is telling me how you're using it and what it's doing for you. And honestly, it puts the biggest smile on my face. And I'm always so excited to open up the DMs. I had a message from Joel, who's an actor here in the UK, and he said he's been listening to it every single morning on his run. And what I really loved about his message is that he said it's given him the belief in himself that sometimes disappears when his motivation dwindles. And not just that, it's helping him set really strong boundaries with himself to actually practice his craft every single day, even when there's no auditions coming up. I love that so much, Joel, because that is what will separate you and help you stand out in the acting industry. I love that he's not just waiting around just because there's no auditions. I love that he's using this Magnetic Actor activation audio as a sort of anchor in his day, and he's becoming very routined and disciplined with it. And one of the things that he said is, for £5, every single actor on the planet should be listening to this. Joel, thank you so much. I am so glad that it's helping you in this way, and keep me updated is what I would say. I want to hear more about how it's helping you and more about how you approach your next audition and what happens in your next audition. I love hearing updates from you all. So if you haven't already listened to it yet, I've linked it below where you've hit play, or you can go to tinyurl.com/magnetic actor and start using it straight away. Let's dive into this then, the TV acting mistake that ruins Take Two. I've got a question for you. Have you ever done a take that felt completely amazing? You felt on cloud nine after it. You knew it was great. There was something about it that just felt completely alive and you knew you were in the moment, only to be told, great, let's go again. And then suddenly everything starts to fall apart. You're in your head, you're second guessing, and something that felt so effortless before now feels completely off. Have you ever experienced that? I'm going to put both my hands up and say, yes, I have, countless times. Well, there's a reason for it. And it comes down to one word that when I first heard it, absolutely terrified me. And that word is continuity. So when I first started not when I first started acting actually, when I first started doing screen work, nobody had ever explained continuity to me. And I remember hearing it on set for the first time and thinking, oh my good Lord, what does this even mean? What am I actually supposed to be doing? And why is everyone talking about it? Why is it such a big thing? And then I understood it because I asked someone to explain it to me, and I went too far the other way. I became hyper aware. I was thinking about absolutely everything. Where my hands were, what I was doing when I picked something up, how fast I'd said a line, how I was breathing, whether my nostrils were flaring. I'm not even being dramatic. I was thinking about every teeny tiny little thing. And that can be a good thing, but for me it wasn't, because it completely pulled me out of the scene and I was no longer present. I wasn't connected. I wasn't free to explore the scene. I was basically stuck in a loop of trying to get continuity right. And here's the thing with that. When you get stuck in those kind of thought loops, you move straight into performance anxiety, even if you wouldn't necessarily label yourself an anxious actor, or you wouldn't necessarily say, yeah, I get stage fright. Performance anxiety will always, 100% of the time show up on camera. Do you know why? Because the camera never lies. It picks up absolutely everything, every tension, every hesitation, every moment you leave the truth out of the scene, that camera is picking it up. So if continuity has ever made you feel overwhelmed or panic or like you're getting it wrong or can't pick it up, just the way I did, there is nothing wrong with you. That performance anxiety is completely normal. However, we do need to nip it in the bud, because I want you giving your best performances ever when you are in front of that camera, not thought looping on continuity. So when we are thinking too much about continuity, all that's happening is our focus is in the wrong place and we just need to shift the needle slightly. So let's strip it back. What does continuity even mean? Because for some of you, this is going to be a brand new concept. And for some of you, you're already going to know what this is, but it's always good to have a refresher, right? So continuity is doing things consistently across takes so that the scenes can be edited seamlessly. Continuity, or good continuity, should I say, makes the editor's job 10 times easier. But I don't want you to put pressure on yourself thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be giving the editor a headache. Don't even think things like that, because it's not useful. It'll just do to you what it did to me, which is take you out of the scene, thought loop, getting performance anxiety, and before you know it, you're not even playing the character. You are simply you in a scene with a camera in front of you, stressing out. And that's not what people are paying to see, is it? That's not what the writer wrote in the script. So here's the thing. Continuity is definitely not about perfection. It's not about control. It's simply about repeatability within truth. So let me make this really practical for you. We want to think about physical actions as being part of continuity. So if you sit down halfway through a line in take one, you need to sit down at that same moment in every single take. Otherwise, when the editor is cutting between shots, it's not going to match. We've also got emotional continuity to think about as well. So this is the one that actors often forget. So let me give you an example. If your emotion is building gradually in one take, but then in the next take, in take two, you jump straight into intensity and the emotion is at level 59 after your first word, it's not going to cut together well. Your emotional journey needs to be consistent. So it doesn't need to be identical, but it does need to be aligned. We've got spatial awareness as well. When you're standing and how you move through the space in the scene and your eye line, all of this needs to stay within the same pattern, because the camera is capturing a visual story, not just your performance. And you may remember, if you've listened to this podcast for a while, that I always talk about acting being a visual art. So let's look into the big three continuity traps. These used to trip me up all of the time, and anytime I saw these 3 things in a script, I'd be like, oh no, really? Until I got a handle on continuity. So the big 3 continuity traps are eating, smoking, and drinking. So let's talk about how these catch actors out all the time. So eating, drinking, and smoking are continuity traps, as I've already said, because they're not just actions. They're repeatable actions with visible consequences. So if we take eating, for example, if you take a bite out of a sandwich before a line, you need to take that bite at the same moment every single time and roughly the same size. Otherwise, what's going to happen is your food will magically reappear or disappear or get larger or smaller between cuts. So this is for the editor, and it's so that the scenes run seamlessly and smoothly and effortlessly. And before I talk about the next 2 continuity traps, you can actually start tracking continuity when you're watching films or when you're watching TV. So when a scene cuts from one shot to another, is the continuity of the actors on point? Or did they do something in the shot before that then in the next shot completely changes? So you can start looking out for it so you can learn from other actors as well. Now let's move on to drinking then. So drinking is the same thing. If you sip after a particular line, that sip needs to happen in the same place every single take. It's the same with smoking. Well, this one's even more precise actually. So when do you inhale? When do you exhale? Where's the cigarette positioned? All of that needs consistency. But here is the key thing. This is where actors either tighten up or level up. Continuity is not about being robotic. It's not about being mechanical. This is where I used to trip up in the early days. Continuity is about building a repeatable structure so you can stay creatively free inside of it. So I want you to think about continuity as if it's a container, like a glass, for example. That container always stays the same, but what's inside it, your emotion, your connection, your truth, that's alive. That's where your work is. That's where your creative expression is. And that is exactly why I created the magnetic actor activation audio, because before you even ever step foot on set, you need to be in a state where you feel grounded, open, creatively available, uplifted, and you're believing in yourself. As you heard earlier, actors all over the world are using it. They're listening to it right now, and it is moving them away from overthinking, and it's dropping them straight into instinct, presence, truth, and their best performances. So instead of gripping onto things like continuity out of fear, you hold them lightly with confidence. So if you do want that magnetic actor activation audio, the link is underneath where you've hit play. And also, if this is something that you really want to master, not just in understanding it theoretically, but actually embodying it on camera, we are going to be opening applications very, very soon for the next Acting for Camera 10-week method acting module. And it only comes around once every 4 years, which is why I am so excited about this module. It starts at the end of April. And we are going to be going into this work such as continuity, but not just the technical side. We're going to be looking at how you stay fully alive and truthful within continuity and many other technical aspects of acting for camera as well. But I'll be giving you more details of this in the following episodes. So to wrap up, next time you hear the word continuity on set, I don't want you to tense up. I want you to think, I've got this, because you don't need to be perfect with it. You just need to be consistent enough to stay free within the scenes and be technically aware. Because when you can master both of those, that is when the camera really starts to love you. and your audiences are gripped. I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.